Good day, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me well. As usual, in the beginnings of my session, I do have Dallas sitting here with me, so I do apologize for any of the ruckus that you might hear, as far as the little chain maybe on his collar, and a little him getting comfortable. Sorry, I'm picking up his piggy, if you want to say that's the piggy. Anyways, okay, so back to what I wanted to talk about today. So today I want to talk about something, it's interesting. I thought I was going to begin one way a few moments ago, but then I thought, let's begin another way. And yesterday, when I was with my brother Jim, and I was saying to him, I said, I really believe that the best thing in life is to just tell yourself, I am happy. Because if you tell yourself, I am happy, eventually, even if you're the most miserable person, or you're just like, things are going wrong, or life just is, things just keep getting in your way, or whatever you're going through. If you keep telling yourself, I am happy, eventually all of the universe, or you could say your higher self, or you could say Allah, whatever you want to refer to as a higher being other than yourself, or what you're contained in. If you just keep telling yourself, I am happy, all of the universe and everything around us and within us knows what that is specifically for us. We don't have to so much get into the details yet of what we really, 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 really want. Our inner being already knows the feelings of being happy. And it's different for everyone else. For me, I like peace and quiet. I love being living on my own, and I have the dog and the cat, but just the peacefulness of it. I really do enjoy living by myself. It's not for everyone, that's not, some people love having family all around them, think about festivities and such, but I've always been that kind of person. I've always been more of an observer, even when I was younger, it's hard to believe I was very shy. That's another story, how I got out of my own shyness. I took many steps. But anyway, so what I wanted to talk about on a deeper level, actually, and it's funny, as I begin, I heard something in my soul. Sometimes we hear messages. I guess I hear them a lot. At first it begins here and there, as you're growing and expanding in your wisdom. And then eventually it's almost like it happens all the time. You're searching for an answer and it just comes. So what I heard in me was, here we are. As I sift through my garden, I can choose. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I guess I should have really looked at the paper. It says, as I sift through my thoughts, I can pick and choose which weeds to pull, just like I do in a garden. So what does that mean? So just like in the garden, we're not saying that weeds are, one's ugly or one's in our way, or what. We're not looking at them in a judgeful way or a critical way. We're just looking, okay, that's not what I want in my garden. So it's kind of like our thoughts are like that. So if we suggest to ourselves, I am happy, and we still have those grumbling thoughts in our head, we haven't pulled out the weeds in our garden, those things might get in our way. Because we are here in this life form, our primary purpose is to just be happy. And it's funny too, because that's what I always imagine for everyone. Someone will ask me, do I worry about others? What about my children? They don't live with me anymore because they're older and grown, and their lives and my family and this being sick or not sick or whatever they're going through. I said, you know what I do? I just imagine them happy. I imagine them living their fullest life, whatever that may be for them as an individual. Doesn't have to be what I think it should be. It's whatever's right for them. So back to my thought for the day that I shared. It's by Oren, and as I've told many of you, Oren was channeled along with Deben by Sanaya Roman. I do believe that Deben was the first one. I can't remember anymore. But anyways, there are different spirits that she channeled. And they're the most loving beings you will ever listen to. So if you're interested in reading books that are just pureness and not full of anger and blame and being hostile and just full of love, just full of all the flowers we want in our garden and not the weeds, these are the books for you. And I don't earn any money from announcing them. I just think they're wonderful. And maybe you wouldn't like them. I don't know, but it's a good place to start. I started with them. Actually, my brother Jim's the one that introduced me to them back in, I don't know, early 2000 sometime. But it's the series I'm speaking of. It's called the Earth series. There's 6 in the collection. And look her up, Sanaya Roman. It's Sanaya. And her last name is Roman, just like Roman numerals, Roman. Try it. You might like it, right? So as I've talked about in these series, I'm going to read a passage. And it's the one I posted today about an hour ago. And it is, have you been blaming someone close to you for your relationship for not working? Do you feel like a victim of another person? If you do not, congratulate yourself for taking responsibility for your life. If you do, radiate a forgiving, soft, and consistent love. Lift solar plexus energy into your heart center to surrender negative feelings. You might say, I no longer blame you. I now take responsibility for creating my own happiness. And so that's Sanaya Roman, or a.k.a. Oren in Deben. And I added another thought to that one, because I just feel like one thought's not enough. You know, we have many ways to read upon. Many ways to interpret words. So I added one by Dr. Brian Weiss. If you're not sure who he is, he teaches past life regression. He works out of the Omega Institute when he does these classes. It's up in upstate New York. You should read on him. He did a great book called Many Lives, Many Masters in the 80s. It's a great intro to understanding our being and the many times it comes into different forms and different dimensions. Anyway, so here's the thought by Dr. Brian Weiss. And it relates to how we need to get out of the habit of blaming others. It says, unconditional love doesn't ask for anything in return. It never creates dependency or debt. It simply exists as a pure and absolute energy, promising that all loved ones will be entwined and embraced throughout eternity. Because we come as these soul families. I know it's hard to believe, but for some of us, we kind of are open to that idea now, because there's certain people in our life that they could be a perfect stranger, but for some reason we meet them, maybe on its behalf of a family member, and we are so connected to them, and we don't understand why. It's almost like you feel such a memory with them. And sometimes that memory is not good or like a bad feeling, but sometimes there's a feeling you just want to be close to that person. And it doesn't have to be an intimate relationship as far as marriage or, being boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it might be, a relationship. It could just be friends or just a pen pal. But it's just showing us that in some way, shape, or form, we do know each other. But I wanted to get into something even deeper today. It is back to I am happy. And I do apologize again. You might hear the dog whimpering. It's because he's at the doors where they have glass doors, and he can see the cat on the other side, so he wants to go play with the cat. But then it's pandemonium, so just bear with me. He'll settle down. But so back to I am happy. Let's work on that for today. Let's take some time to focus on our lives. In our life, there are things to be happy about. And sometimes it begins with just the idea that I have this beautiful little dog, whether he's whimpering or not. He's the most lovely little being. He brings me joy every morning. He sleeps under the covers right next to me. And every morning he greets me a little kiss. And he's so happy and just so content. It reminds you, it's a continuous reminder to be the same. That he's not concerned about whether he's going to get fed, where the water is. He's not concerned about a thing. All he just knows is to be happy. So that's what he does. A constant reminder. So what are some other things that could make us happy? Something like just being happy that I have my fingers and toes. Or how about just the idea that I get to wake up every day? Or just the idea that I am still here. I'm 60 now. I am still here. Many have passed, many people I know. And it's that I get the joy of still being in this body form and it still moves. That in itself is just something to bring joy to myself. And what about the many lovely people we've met? Sometimes they might be with us for a short moment. Maybe it's an hour. Maybe it's a lifetime. Maybe it's a few months. But that joy of having that person, even if they weren't here very long, like I said, like it's to find joy in those moments that, wow, at least I got to have them in my life. For whatever time it was, I did get to have them in my life. And you'll feel this feeling more and more when you talk about it in that light instead of, oh my God, I don't have them anymore. I feel so lonely. I'm so unhappy. I feel lost. I feel upset, And that's why in being a medium, it's interesting because I do many things. Actually, I've been doing a little law work with my brother too. Yeah, I guess I wear many hats. But it's to be open to doing things I love. But in being a medium, it's interesting because I get people from all over the world. It's not something I do 24/7, but it's interesting because each time when I do a medium reading, the person who's left is very happy. They're out of their body. They're so full of life. Sometimes they're just like dancing. And like someone will tell me, like the person who's asking for the reading, like, wow, they used to love to dance, but they got into a wheelchair at the end of their life and they couldn't anymore. But there's things that'll come through when I do a medium reading that I couldn't possibly know, which is wonderful because that way these people, even though they don't have a person in their life that they used to have in the body form, it gives them a little peace knowing, oh, they're okay. They've moved on. They're happy. They're free of the body. They don't have to lug it around anymore. And so our life in this being, in this body, is just like that. Everyone who we've lost. I mean, I lost a lot when I was a young girl. I lost my dad. I was 6. I think I brought this up before. My mom, I was 22. I lost a brother at 13. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I'm not upset about it. I'm happy for what they brought me in this life. And it reminds me to keep going forward, to keep spreading joy with others and explaining just because we lose people doesn't mean we need to be upset about it. There's so much in life to be happy about. There's so many journeys we can take. I do a lot of counseling with people, one-on-one, to help them understand purpose in their life and why things happen. And I've been working with someone throughout the years. They come to me here and there, not every week, but when they're looking for a little maybe consolation or just wondering what's going on in my life. And I think what happens with people is we go through a journey in life of loneliness. So we maybe seek out a partner, we get that relationship, and maybe we share children or buy a house together or whatever it may be. And as our journey goes, we start expanding. Something in our soul starts growing, and we all of a sudden don't feel a communion with the partner we've chosen. And I'm not saying it has to be a marriage or a relationship. It could be a job that you've held for 30 years. There's something in you has shifted and changed and expanded. And for me, I help people understand it's just because when you first got into that situation, you might have felt empty, but you didn't even know. There's something so interesting about you can't know until you know. The experience truly is the way. And that's when we also get into, there's a passage in the Bible that talks about, forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they do. I don't know if that's verbatim, but it reminds us to not judge others when they've made changes in their life. It's their soul journey. And maybe, just maybe, The way and reason you feel judgment is maybe you feel stuck in your relationship. You haven't allowed yourself to grow. There's many reasons why some people judge others. It's just to observe, try to be almost like a silent partner and allow them to grow. If something's not right for you, it will shift and change. And the more you try and fight it and try and stay in it because it's safe, it might just shift and change. And that maybe that's not for everyone. I have a lot of dear friends who've been married 40, 50 years now, and quite successfully. They don't... Excuse me one moment. I do apologize. This is Dallas. We can show his little face. There he is. Sometimes a lot of people have seen his pictures. But I had to go get him to get up on my lap. But he's here. He's a good boy. He listens. I'll put him on his own chair. But really, back to being happy. So let's just try that. Really, try that. Try that for give it a good, months. Even if it takes years. Say it to yourself as many times as you can, I am happy. Or I think myself happy. And I guarantee eventually you're going to notice all of a sudden things that used to be in your life are just not there anymore. And it's not that they've left you, it's just that your magnetism, your law of attraction doesn't draw those parts to you anymore. And that's why sometimes we will notice that people who used to seem negative, we run into them years later and they all of a sudden, wow, they've changed and they've grown. It's maybe sometimes not so much that they've grown, maybe you have. And what do I mean about that? Think on people who you might detest and other people wow, I love that person. I think they're great. They're so much fun. I really enjoy their company. They're always kind to me. And you know why that is? That's because the things that they're working on and the things that you're working on are two different things. So if somebody is, say, an alcoholic and you grew up around alcoholics, there might be some things, some kinks you need to work out about your feelings about alcoholism. And I could go on for hours about the different things that might relate to us in our life form on our journey, specific to us, not anyone else, about how alcohol might affect us or the ones around us. We're all just here to having a journey, having an experience. It's all good. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to leave you with the idea of just telling yourself, I am happy. I am happy. I am happy. Or I think myself happy. Just telling yourself that. Monitor your thoughts. And maybe that's a good replacement thought. Like when you start feeling a little grumpily, tell yourself, I am happy. I think myself happy. It sounds too simple to be true, but it's not. And I'm the perfect example of it. That was what I wanted to share. It was my story. I thought I was done, but I'm not. And anyway, so years ago, I met he's a journalist. He's a well-known author, and he's written several books and everything. So I'm very much the other side of the brain, not so spiritual for sure. But he was talking to me about all that he's experienced. The carnage. He covered a lot of wars and such. And he had a really hard upbringing. I guess his mom. All the siblings had different parents, different fathers, that kind of situation. A very closed-off person. It was really hard. You couldn't talk to him about heartfelt things. But I was saying, it could just be that your magnetism to want to be a journalist for, the war and covering situations like that, because that's something that runs through your mind all the time. All the war, as far as, how you were raised, it's still showing up everywhere. And, it was really hard for me. I started watching his body tighten up, which, of course, he's always been on a very thinking mind that believes that these things are happening, and they are happening. It's just that they won't come into your experience unless it's something for you personally to experience to help you evolve and grow. And I'm not going to say that, I really have a lot of compassion and a lot of respect for people who have had to serve and have had to go over there and really done their duty in life. I'm glad I didn't have to go through that. Instead, my war was in different ways around my life. It's just that it shows up differently for us all. And it's just so eventually we'll just get in this happy space that can just be an observer and just watch others grow without trying to force them and tell them how to grow. It's just we're just suggesting ideas. And I know Einstein said something, or maybe, who knows, they say some of his quotes, he didn't say because Snopes will investigate it, but whoever said it. But he said something to the effect of, he doesn't teach his pupils, he provides the tools in which they can learn. And to me, that's like just someone like allowing children to maybe learn paper mache. You're just giving them the basic ideas of how to apply themselves, but you're not telling them which animal they should create or which kind of creature, as far as like a sculpture, just whatever they choose to. You give them all colors to paint with after. It's okay if you stab a hole in it. It's okay if you smash it. It's okay. Whatever works for you is okay, because you will learn from it. You will go through an experience, and it's going to be you as an individual, how it's going to work for you. It doesn't matter how it works for other people. It's how it works for you. So that's what I do have for today. I do have other things on my schedule. I do love you all so much. Something that I cannot express enough is to know that, yes, all are my brother. All are connected to me. So that's something to really be deep in your heart. I don't care what they've done to you or what you think has happened or how it happened. Remind yourself every single day that each one is a part of you, and you will learn what it means to really love thy neighbor as thyself. I love you. Enjoy the day. It's beautiful. Look at that light coming in behind me.